Well, good morning. It's another day. It's the start of another segment on this 33 Dodge 5-window coupe. I'm going to give you a little update on what is going to be happening today. Danielle is back to give a hand changing out the gears in the rear end before I pressure clean the whole thing. And at the same time, I'll be finishing up sanding where all the body panels mounted to the car and including the body panels, quarter fenders, and so forth and so on. And then one thing I thought about when I was editing the video for Sunday, because today's Monday, that this particular one, I'm going to add a plate to the side, and that would help the strength like I did with the other three to make this stronger being mounted to the frame. So I'm going to do that first, mount a plate on the side of this so that when it goes up alongside the frame, I got 2 more points of strength being added to this right here for the running board when it sits on there. So I'm glad I edited everything, and this way I can review what I've done and see if there's any improvement, like in this case, and be able to move forward. So once I have that done, I have marks on the frame, so I'm going to have to drill those marks before I pressure wash it, because the marks are actually will be pressure washed, and I think we use the marker, and I'm pretty sure that those marks will come off, and I don't want to lose my location on where they go. So far, that's what I'm going to do. We're going to get started on that, and if there's anything interesting I could show while it's being done, actually I'm going to do that with the rear, show how you set it and so forth. I'm pretty sure that should be helpful because almost every rear is the same, so it should work out. So until then, stand by. Okay, I'm back, and we're going to be changing the gears on the rear like I mentioned. So obviously you got to take the wheels off first, and then you pull the drums off. And while you're doing that, you drain the oil. And the bearings, the seals have been changed on this just not too long ago, probably 2 months ago, because this car has been here more than 2 months, so maybe 3 months ago. And once you get them out, get that drained and everything off, there are 4 bolts that are on the back side, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, or if you want to take 2 on this side, 2 on that side, and that releases the housing so that you can pull the axle assembly out. And then there's 10 bolts on the rear, in the front part of the rear. I'm pretty sure there's 10. Yeah, it looks like 10. And then that chunk comes out forward. So right now we're putting the plug back in there so no more oil continues to drip out. And you see I'm kind of a nut with keeping my concrete clean. That is a big pet peeve. Any oil or anything else getting on my concrete, yeah, that bugs me. But we're going to take every precautions to make sure that doesn't happen. And we're going to take it to the steps to what it takes to change the gears, so she actually has a little more on the highway instead of winding out at 55 miles an hour and you're at $3,000 type of thing. So that's the reason why we're changing the gearing. Wants a little more freedom on the highway. So we're going to take you to the steps, and I believe the bolts are out on this side, so it'll be a matter of pulling that axle first. You don't have to take them all the way out, but enough to where it clears the chunk on the inside, and then you can take that off and go forward with it. So that's the plan. We're going to have you on view on that. And I think what I'll do is I'll put it on standby until the bolts are out and that chunk's ready to be removed. But right now, trying to pry that off and get that to pop out enough to where it can just sit there, but at the same time, there you go, it's sliding out now, It has moved. Yep, there it is. We don't have to take that all the way out. Yeah. So that's about how far we're going to remove both of them. They don't need to come out. It's just enough so that you can actually take the chunk out in order to do that. And the rears that have the pan on the back where the bolts come off, well, you got to get in there first and remove the little C-clips that they got in there, or however the fastenings are first, in order to be able to take the axle out of the way. But this one is different because it mounts from the front part and pulls out that way. You got to do this first in order to remove that. So hang tight, stand by. Okay, I'm back and the chunk is removed, and as you can see, I also cleaned it out, sprayed some brake clean down the tubes on both sides, blew it out, wiped it out nice and clean, and there it is. We're making marks because of the settings that are on the sides. You can see the lock part of it right there. Yep. And we will be changing this. This is the ring, and this is the ring gear, and the pinion obviously is in there where that mounts up to. So that's our next move. We got to take it apart carefully and make sure we don't ruin anything in the process, and go to town. Yep, we already got the gears, so we're good to go. So stand by. Okay, I'm back, and now that we have the chunk up in an area where we could comfortably work on it, I'm going to take the impact and remove these 4 bolts that will at that point remove the caps that surround everything that's in its way. First I need a rag. Yep, put that there. In the meantime, the hunt for the new gears is on. Now I like to personally put the hardware exactly back where it came from, in the same spot. Obviously the caps you have to, but the bolts I do that with anything that involves the sensitivity of setting this. It's just me. I don't know if anybody else would even worry about what bolt went where, but that's me, and that's okay. I'm good at that. So we're going to undo this. Make sure they're wiped off, and I want to make sure we put these back in the same spot. And obviously we got to put the right torque pressure on this, so we'll end up putting it in a vise or something to strap it down so that we can torque it. And see, now they'll be placed out of the way and nothing will get disturbed. And we already marked, not only with marking type of thing, but also we used the center punch and made some dimples on there so we knew where the setting is, so that when you go to shim it, you make sure that it's got to be right, plain and simple. So now we're going to remove the rest of this. You want me to? I'm going to get a piece of wood. I got one right there. We'll place underneath there, and then we'll be going. Uh-oh. Don't break it. There's the race. Take that. Well, that's why I wanted to do this first. But you didn't let me. Typical. Alright, here we go. Now we got it up where we can see everything. And we're going to have to remove the yoke on the other side so we can get the pinion out. But first, do we want to change all them out. I'm sure it came with all new bolts. It would have to. I would think it would. Usually, when you end up with changing ring gear, pinion, the ring gear would normally come with new hardware to bolt the ring gear back in place. But we'll see. Hopefully. If not, well, we got to use what we got, because that's just the way that is. And I did also spray this earlier when we took it out to remove any debris that could have been in there. Keep it clean. No hardware? Alright, well, we're going to have to use the original. Not even on the bottom of that? Underneath? Nope, nothing. Okay, well, at least we know. You want to bring that back up here? And then we can remove. There we go. Man, look how pretty. Yeah, look how pretty. So, that thing looks huge, man. Yes, that's the wrong one. There's no way that's going to fit in there. No way. Well, I think we just came to an end of this exciting part of changing the ring and pinion because, and I'm glad I didn't order it, it's the wrong, definitely the wrong pinion. And if that's the case, it's definitely the wrong gear. I bet you the gear is even probably too big. Or maybe too small. Yeah, it's too big. It's bigger by a little bit. You can see it overlaps this and this. There's no way that's fitting in there. Yeah, just because of that right there. And I think it'd even get too close to the side here. Well, and the mission is to send this back and get the right ones. There's got to be some sort of serial number on this or something.
Okay. I looked it up by this.
Right. All right. So why don't we just do this? We'll just place it back in there. We don't have to get crazy with torques and what have you. This way you don't lose nothing, and we can put it out of the way as one unit instead of a bunch of pieces.
All right.
So
on their website, they have 4 gear sets that were $273.
okay.
So I'll have to call them and just tell them, this is the number, this is the facing, which one should you have?
Right. Well, you heard it. Now we're going to reassemble this back enough so all the pieces don't get lost, and then once the right ones come in the house, we'll have to go back and do it again. So in the meantime, we're going to put it together. Stand by. Okay, I'm back, and I took care of what I said I was going to do with this other brace. I added that plate, just got done welding it, so you can imagine it is hot, but that's what it looks like. Plate added to the back, and now I'm going to drill the holes at the same time drilling it through the frame, and this is for the driver's side left, so put that there. And I don't know if you could tell, but I jacked up the frame up high enough to make it a little bit more comfortable to drill the holes and be able to work on it. I was thinking about taking the engine hoist and just bringing it up all the way up to where I can just stand there and do it, but this will be good enough. I think it'll work just fine. So, that being said, I want to get comfortable Hi, kitty. Puss in Boots just made her a little visit. Yes, she did. So I'm going to clamp these in place, drill some holes, throw some hardware through it, and then take them back off because I got to clean it. And those, at least, and then I'll mark them just to make sure that I'll actually put little punch hole marks to know where they go, because not every hole is going to be drilled exactly the same, but that's going to be the scoop. So until I have that done, I'll show you once they're mounted. So until then, stand by. Alright, I'm back. I'm going to show you that I mounted, not permanently, but got all the holes drilled on both sides of the frame on the brackets bracing for the running boards. And I'm hoping that I move this microphone to the side, even though it was a little bit better, but it still seemed strong. I'll use that word. And I noticed another guy put it to the side of his cap, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully it is better. So let me show you. This would be the front left side. I had 5/16 diameter bolts is what goes in the holes, two of them that way, and then I have a hole drilled up going to the top, I mean from the bottom up through, and the same with that one. They're all done that way. Actually, you can see the hardware that I'm temporarily using poking through the inside of the frame, and that's where the other one comes through. I'll be able to get my fingers in there and put the bolts on it. So they should work. I believe it's going to add a little bit of security, I believe. And I'm glad that I put this plate there on the side. Definitely adds a little more comfort in my mind. And next, and it is thundering out there and lightning and carrying on with the rain, which is fine. Always can use some rain. So my next point of interest before I take this outside, which ain't going to be soon, to pressure wash it, is that I know I mentioned in the beginning videos about the front fenders having stress cracks, partly because of the spacing, and the other part where it was hitting is right here on the frame, on this side, and the same thing over there. So what I'm going to do is to correct that problem. The way I see it, the front tip of the frame, this side where it's rubbing goes out away from the frame, and the same with that one. So I'm going to cut a line right here and then down the side, remove a piece and bend this in, and then that should take care of that problem, and re-weld it, grind it, make it smooth on both sides, and that should take care of that and give it the clearance it needs so we don't get that happening and put any sort of stress on those front fenders. But if it doesn't stop raining by the time I'm done with that, then I will be sanding the rest of the fenders where, you know, they were attached to the body, finish prepping them, both sides, go around and check the body, make sure everything is sit on that, because I know I got to finish sanding the newly primered areas. I didn't get to do that yet, but that's really close, real close to getting painted. But all this I want done ready first, and once those are done, and this thing is pressure washed and clean, I'm going to take some of the components off. We are getting new chrome shocks. The client says, we've gone this far, get 2 new ones, so they're on order. I'm going to take this piece off on both sides. I'm going to remove this, even though that will get painted. And then take off the 2 rear coil springs and take the battery out of the battery box for sure, get it out of the way. And then see where I'm going to go from there as far as bracing this and keeping this up when I go to paint it, and how I'm going to paint it. I know I'm going to have to bring it up pretty high so that I can get underneath it quite comfortable. Yeah, absolutely. I'll figure it out once it goes in the spray booth. But let me get started on that. Actually, once I get it all set up and ready to cut and weld, I'll chime back in and you can see the direction I'm going with that. So stand by. Okay, I'm back. And I figured I'm going to show you something that I've been wanting to do and needed to do for the longest time. I do have plenty of lighting in here, and though the 4 LED lights on that side as well as this side are not on, anytime you're doing anything that's technical or even especially body work, it needs to be bright. You can't have a shadow being created by the light on something that you're working on. And for the longest time, I've dealt with those shadows. So finally, I ordered a group of, they came in a pack of 6, like over 52,000 lumens. I ordered 6, I put 3 up because I only wanted 3 on one switch. And there's 1, and there's 2, hope it doesn't blind you out. And there's number 3, all wired in properly to a switch I put over there. And that's all I have on. And it really creates a lot of light. And with all those lights on, oh yeah, it's wicked. But for what I'm doing right now, this is all I need. But when it comes back to doing the body work, you know, clearing everything up, and I got it out here where I need it, whatever side I'm working on, those lights will be on that's needed. It really does help. It makes a difference. But I figured I'd show that I did that Sunday. It's one of the reasons why I don't work on clients or customers' cars on Saturday and Sunday. If I did, I never have time to get anything done. And it's just, I'm sure there's a lot of big shops out there that feel the same way. They're not open on Saturday or Sunday. So I'm going to get back to the business at hand. I'm going to set the camera up. I already started cutting. I got the welder out, ready to go. And I got another cut to make across the top. I'll grind it up, and then I'll weld it up so you get to see just what it takes. So I'm going to put you on the stand and put you in a comfortable spot to where you can see it. And I also took some precaution with a welding blanket over the fenders because there'll be some splatter. I don't know how far it'll go, but I didn't want to take any risk. So I'll put you over here maybe. Right there, let me zoom in a little bit. Yeah, zoom in a little bit more. Alright. Whoops, yeah, had it. Okay. Alrighty, you should be able to see the angle. Like I cut 2 lines, the material I wanted to remove, so when I'm done cutting this piece, I can hit it with the hammer, and then that will actually kind of square this up the way I need it. Yeah. Put on some glasses. And I did jack this up, put it on stands. When it comes to welding, you want to be comfortable. That's what they'll teach you in class. When you are welding, get as comfortable as you can. And the other thing they'll tell you is get comfortable being uncomfortable, because at times you're going to be in a very uncomfortable scenario where you got to get it done, so you got to get used to it. So that's their lesson on that. Alright, perfect. Now that piece came out. That worked out very well. I don't want to pick it up and show you because I'll burn my fingers. So I'm going to grind this up, get the paint off. First, put a little valley in there on both sides so when I go to weld it, I get more weld in there. Keep it strong. All right. And I just ground the spot to put the ground cable on. That works. It's hammer time. Now I got to do another cut across the top, which is fine. Alrighty. Alright. Can I break it? No. Hallelujah. Kinda need a heavier hammer. Yeah. I don't want to break the handle on this one. Alrighty. Found it! It's getting there. Absolutely. Alrighty. I think I'm going to hook the strap up to this because it's kind of giving me a little bit of deflection there. Yep. Make that happen. Gotta put you back into your place. That'll go right there in that spot where that hole is. And now, pull some of the slack out. Put some boots! Kitty came in for a visit. I know she got wet. She looked like she got wet. Crazy cat. Alright, let's see. Let's see if I can make it happen. Listen, Beliefs, where you going? She gets freaked out on a lot of stuff. I'm shocked for an outdoor cat. Yeah, there we go. Alrighty. Yep, it's in where I want it. Now I gotta turn on the gas. I'm gonna turn up the voltage. Give me a little bit more wire speed. Turn that on. Now we're ready to do some welding. Yeah. Turn this around. Alright, so far so good. Okay. I'm having a hard time keeping the helmet on, but I wanted to at least show the process of what I'm doing. I'm going to grind this smooth, and I'm going to go over it again. I'm really glad that there was a little bit of a gap in there so that the weld and the wire can get between the two metals and do a real fine weld, besides having the valley ground into it. So I'm going to put you on standby, and when it's all done, smooth and cleaned up, I'll show you. So hang tight. Okay, as I focus in on it, came out beautiful. Can never even tell that it was ever cut and welded on both sides. Yep. Came out really nice, and I'm sure now I'll have the clearance that I need for the front part of those fenders, which is this area here that created some cracks, stress cracks went, and that was the left side, yeah, left, and this would be the right side in this general area where it was originated and spread out. But that's to make sure that it doesn't do it again. At least take as much precaution as I can. That's the whole idea that I went through to cut it, pull it together, and weld it. So that's that. So now I'm going to put it back down where it belongs on all four. And I think it stopped raining out there, and it definitely stopped thundering and lightning. I might have to stay. No, I'm going to clean it. I'm going to pressure wash it today. Hopefully, if it's raining, I'm not going to be able to, but for the most part, I'll take a couple of things off while I'm reassuring that it's not raining out, get stuff set up in the meantime. But until then, stand by for the next phase. I mean, the next part of it, which will be cleaning it. And if I can't do it before the end of the day, well, then I should be able to do it tomorrow and get that nastiness all cleaned up inside and out, underneath, everything, get it all clean. But until then, just stand by. Okay, well, I'm sure you caught all that. I know I sure did. Face fill here and there. I'm going to spray it down one more time with some chemical, but I got to fill up the container and clean it some more. I'm probably going to lift up the front end of this so I can get underneath the frame a little bit better. But the heavy stuff came off front, and that chrome is looking really nice down there. So in the meantime, the shit's splashing on my truck, so I had to clean that silliness off. But now you got the gist. I'm going to spray it down, pressure wash it again, and let it dry out there and get started on the next step of what has to be done to get this ready for paint along with the cab. So now that you've seen that, you got an idea, stand by. Alright, I'm back, and I'm going to take you through the frame and show you the components that I removed. And there isn't anything else I'm going to take off, only that when it comes to the front, I'll be covering it before I paint it. So let me take you and walk around. Well, I removed the rear coil shocks that were there, and I put in place that angle iron that has a bunch of holes in it, but at least gives me the space I need between the rear and that part of the frame. And once I have the frame up in the air, the wheels will come off. This way it gives me more access to painting it. I straightened out parts of the frame that I pointed out that I wanted to straighten out that needed to be done. Over here, over there, over there. And then I removed, which is just laying there, the front part that holds on the front fenders. I took off the front shocks along with the upper supports. Yeah, that was real fun. Whoever decided to put it there where they had space because it was a spacer, they could have actually made it to where the holes came a little forward, and this way it would give you better access inside that frame. Yeah, that upper bolt out of the two, that was a challenge, but they're out, and it's going to be real fun putting it back in. Now what I'm going to do now is take the DA sander over as much as I can, get it ready, and I'll probably wash it one more time off, depending, before it goes in the spray booth. But I'll be painting that rather shortly. Looking forward to it. And once that is all sanded, then I'll go and I'll finish the areas that were covered by the body or the running boards, finish sanding them. And the same thing with on the body, because I still have to sand the primed areas that I primed for the second time, and then the hood. So moving along, and that's it for now. So I'm going to get to sanding and prepping. Looking forward to painting. So stand by. Alright, I'm back. It's the next day. It is Wednesday. That means tonight I'm going to post this for tomorrow, all the stuff I've been filming on it. I figured I'd show something else that's being done besides prepping as much as I can of the frame for paint. I will be using a chemical on it to make sure that the new paint will adhere to it, but I'm going to show you what I'm removing and what I'm getting ready for, so hang on there a second. Alright, as you saw, there were new spring-loaded shocks that were in place there, and obviously have them out of there, but this was a bracket that they added on once upon a time under the frame, and then a receiver down on the axle. And that way, based on the suspension they had on there originally, it kept the rear from, going left or right as the vehicle would go up and down. So being that it was eliminated, and I believe it was eliminated by Daniela, and that's how that back bar there came about, for the adjustable coil spring shocks. So being that it's really not needed and it looks kind of stupid on there with nothing attached, I decided to cut it off, eliminate it altogether, and then I'm going to cut that piece off down there, eliminate it. Now in the meantime, I took the wheel off so that I can get in there and sand all that up, clean it up, get it ready for the paint. And then I noticed that the spot back here that I missed that I want to straighten out. So once I put the wheel back on the car, I'm going to bring the jack over, put my steel plate on the jack side of it, and straighten out this part through here. It kind of goes cattywampus. So I want to straighten it out, make it straight, make it look nice, because you will see it from underneath the vehicle. I think they probably jacked it up from here and over here and over here. They jacked it up in various areas in order to, change it or whatever, and they shouldn't have done that. Whoever done it shouldn't have done it that way, but that's the way they did it. But can't control stupid, for sure. But anywho, I'm going to put you on the stand, and I'm going to shoot some sparks at you and finish cutting that piece off. I'm going to be taking a piece of, I don't know, they had something welded back here, and they took a torch. It was a flat bar. They took a torch to it and torched off that piece. I'll show you that in a second. I don't know where it went or how it went, but I'm trying to cut that off. There isn't a lot of room to do that. So let me get the rest of this off. Here it comes. Here it is. Let's clean this up a little bit. What's up? Yeah, that wheel's getting a beating. Alright, now you got the gist of the garbage that I'm removing, and it's no wonder it was breaking free, because the material that they attached this to, this is actually thicker than this, and they welded this to the frame, which I don't think had enough integrity, because you could see, maybe you can see it coming apart based on the pressure. So it's a good thing we took that off. We don't need it anyway. And actually, it'll make your car a little bit lighter and it'll go a little faster. Yeah, sure it will. Alright, next is going to be that piece there, but I want to show you. And actually, that piece there is attached to the battery box. It's a pretty neat one, to say the least. So let me bring you over to it and show you. Yeah, there's that nub sticking out. I've already cut the one side. Now I'm trying to cut this side that I'm showing you. And that, I guess, served two purposes. A brace for something underneath and to do something. But the other purpose of that was for this battery box. It's made out of stainless. And it actually adjusts. When you're going to service it, you just pull these things back. You see now that went up. You need a jack, obviously, if the battery's in there, and knowing that it's under the car, this piece here it goes up and down like that. So the base of it rides up on these channels here and then latches in place once you have the battery up where it needs to be fixed at. And then when you're going to service it, change it, you pull both of these, there's one on both sides, and you pull it back, and that it allows the battery to drop down. But in order to actually release it, you need to put pressure going up, and that's where you need the jack. And then you can use the jack to lower it and keep the jack off to the side once you get it to lock down. And once you finally get the battery out, you can put the battery on the jack and then lower it the rest of the way to the ground. That's what I did. I found it easier to do it that way. But it's an interesting setup. It gets bolted back there. It's hard to tell. Anyhow, you can see the brace with the 4 holes. But I got to clean up the other side. And it looks better already without that thing sticking out there. And then I'm going to do the same thing with that piece. I'm going to cut it off carefully. I don't want to cut into the tube, and I'll have to weld it. You can't have a hole in there. But anywho, that's the plan. I'm sticking to it. So I'll chime back in soon enough, so stand by. Well, I'm back, and I'm going to show the mess that was made on cleaning the underneath of the tail end of this frame here. And what a mess it made. I had to, I was prepping the frame. I didn't think that all that material, I think you could see it, was going to come off like that between scraping it, using the air, and then I sanded it, and there it is, all over the floor. Yeah, it spread pretty far and wide. A lot of pieces. Even Puss in Boots. She stayed away. Too much noise, too much scraping, too much air. She don't like the sound of the air. Even if she's eating, she'll take off. She hears that air. But the majority of this is sanded. I have a little more to do up here in the front, on this side, a little bit in the middle. And then she'll be ready to get a sealer and then paint. But before I do that, I'm going to hit it again with the pressure washer to get all the dust, make sure all the chips of the paint isn't hanging loose somewhere inside the channels. And I want to be able to clean a little bit better on the bottom of the dust covers, basically, that are on the end of the axle tubes. So it's going to end this segment of this video, and Puss in Boot agrees. There she is, walking away. She's going to go outside. But it's going to end this segment of this video with this 5-window Dodge Coupe. Yep, there it is. And being tomorrow's Thursday, I'll be posting it first thing in the morning, and then Sunday will be the next one. But I do appreciate people. If you all would like, subscribe if you haven't already, I would appreciate it. If you want to make a comment, that's great. But until then, try to get something done. So, thanks for watching.